Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't seen me before, my name is Heather. If you have seen me before, then you already know that my name is Heather, so welcome back. Now, you may have noticed that I am in a slightly different location today. I usually film right in front of my window, but now I am slightly to the side, and that is because I got a ring light. I am going to be moving into a basement suite in September for school, which is not going to have a lot of natural lighting that I usually use to film, so I thought I should get some sort of ring light situation so that I could still have good lighting for my videos, because I know that is very important. So hopefully this is okay. Just bear with me over the next few videos as I sort of figure out which lighting works best and my sort of background situation. Hopefully that's okay. Anyways, now that I've got that sort of disclaimer out of the way, I'm going to move into what this video is actually about. And I decided that for this week, I wanted to do a long distance related video because I haven't done one of those in a while. And I know that a lot of you benefit from me making these types of videos. So I thought that it was probably time that I do another one. And in the past, I did do a long distance relationship advice type video where I talked about telling your parents about your long distance relationship, and this video is sort of going off of that, but this video is going to be about how to gain confidence in telling people about your long distance relationship, because long distance relationships are not the norm, and I know it can be quite nerve-wracking when somebody asks you about your relationship and you have to explain the whole long distance situation. So I'm just going to be giving you a few tips to help you raise that confidence when you're talking about your long distance relationship. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. Tip number one is to remember that most people are just curious when they hear that you're in a long distance relationship. And if they have questions, it usually isn't coming from a place of malicious intent, and they usually just want to know more about it. And so when people ask you these questions, you can take it as an opportunity to help them to learn more about long distance relationships and to learn that long distance relationships are just as real and valid as normal relationships, if you want to say that. And obviously, if people are asking rude questions or being rude about it, you don't have to answer every single question, or you don't have to answer any questions if you don't want to. It's all up to what you feel comfortable with. But yeah, just sort of remember that most people aren't going to be mean about it. They just want to know more because it's something that is different for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know that much about it. So that is probably why they are asking questions. My second tip in gaining confidence in telling people about your long distance relationship is to treat it just like any other relationship, because it is. Although a long distance relationship isn't exactly the same as a relationship where both people live very close to each other, that doesn't mean that it isn't a real relationship, and it isn't a relationship that you shouldn't be proud of. You should be proud of it. And so if people are asking you if you are seeing someone or about your relationship, just try to be casual about it and mention that you are in a relationship with someone and you're in a long distance relationship with someone, and don't treat it as if it's this weird, crazy thing, because oftentimes if you're treating it like it's normal, then the people around you will sort of capture that same energy that you're putting out and will be like, oh, okay, this is normal. This is just another relationship. It isn't this crazy thing. But if you're out here treating it like it's some weird, forbidden, crazy thing, then the people around you might sort of take that energy in as well and think that it's crazy and weird. So yeah, just treat it like it's a normal relationship, because it is, and it's not weird. And although it might be different from what many people are used to, that doesn't mean it's any less of a relationship, if you get what I mean. And I sort of touched on this in my last point, but point number 3 is to remind yourself and others that just because you're in a long distance relationship doesn't mean that your relationship is any less valid or real than any other relationship. I feel like this starts with reminding yourself, and then you can sort of gain that confidence if you sit down with yourself and remind yourself when you're having these thoughts and these fears about telling people about your relationship, that your relationship is just as valid and real as any other relationship, and you shouldn't look down upon it because it's a little bit different than what most people are used to. And then further, once you have gained this confidence, if you are telling people about your relationship and they're sort of confused and don't really understand it, you can remind them that it's just like any other relationship. You just have a bit of a different situation than most people. And there's nothing less valid or real about your relationship just because you're long distance. Tip number 4 in gaining that confidence is to practice talking openly about your relationship with people that you feel comfortable around. So these could be people who already know about your relationship, and you could just try to bring it up yourself and talk about your partner as anyone else would talk about their partner. And just talking about your relationship more and talking about the long distance aspect of your relationship more can help you gain that confidence within yourself so that you can go out into the world and answer anyone's questions and talk openly about your relationship with people who you aren't necessarily as close to. And once you're sort of comfortable talking to the people that you are close to about your relationship, you can start trying to bring it up to people who you aren't as close to, like out and about, you know, and then that can help you be more confident and comfortable when situations arise that people are asking about a relationship and all that sort of thing. Tip number 5 is to not feel like you have to explain yourself or your relationship. You shouldn't feel like you have to justify being in a long distance relationship every single time somebody asks about your relationship. And even if someone is asking if you're in a relationship, you don't necessarily have to disclose that it is long distance. You can just be like, yes, I am in a relationship with my partner, so-and-so. You know, like, it doesn't always have to be about long distance. You don't always have to explain your whole relationship and life story, because most times people are just making conversation and they don't really want and need all the details. So you definitely don't have to feel like you have to explain yourself. And if you do mention that you're in a long distance relationship and people have all these questions for you, you also don't have to feel like you have to suddenly become a teacher and answer all of these questions. It shouldn't put that pressure on you. You shouldn't feel like you have to. Obviously, if you want to answer these questions, go right ahead, but never feel like it's your job to teach people and justify your long distance relationship. Tip number 6 is to expect some silly responses from people when you tell them that you are in a long distance relationship, and figure out how you sort of want to approach these responses before you're actually in the situation. I've made a video in the past about things not to say to people in long distance relationships, and there are a lot of like silly questions and comments that people who don't really understand long distance might say to you if you mention that you're in a long distance relationship. So if you are feeling scared about talking about your relationship and stuff, it can help to sort of prepare how you want to approach these silly comments and these sort of situations, so that you have like answers and comments stored in the back of the noggin so that if you mention your long distance relationship to someone and they say one of these things, you can know what you're going to say and not sort of be put on the spot and stress about answering and all of that sort of thing. And tip number 7 sort of branches off of the last one, and that is to prepare answers to common questions that people may have about long distance relationships. Because like I said earlier, many people just don't understand long distance relationships, and they're going to be having lots of questions and thoughts, and if it stresses you out to be put on the spot like that and it stresses you out trying to come up with an answer, you can just have those stored back in the old noggin so that you can answer these questions and know what you're going to say if they arise. And my 8th and final tip is to put yourself in your partner's shoes and sort of imagine what it might feel like if they were embarrassed or nervous to talk about your relationship. obviously it's nobody's fault. If you are a shy person, it can be nerve-wracking to mention being in a relationship that's a little bit different than what most people are used to, but it might help to sort of imagine how your partner may feel in this situation, and that might sort of push you to be more open about talking about your relationship, because ultimately it is nothing to be ashamed of. Long distance is no less valid or real than any other relationship, like I've said many times in this video. But yes, having your mindset in what your partner may be thinking throughout this can sort of help you to sort of have that final push to talk about your relationship and be more confident in your relationship and talking about it with other people. And sort of going off of that, it can also be helpful to talk to your partner about your worries and your lack of confidence in speaking about your relationship, because they may be able to help you gain that confidence and give you advice from their perspective, because obviously they are in the same boat as you. They are in a long distance relationship. They have to talk about it with people sometimes, so they may be able to help give you that sort of advice and that support to help you gain confidence in talking about it. Okay, that is it for this video. That was the most chaotic, stressful thing to film, so hopefully I'm able to pull it together and make this look okay. My neighbors are doing construction right now. My mom is cleaning the entire house right now, so there's lots of noises, so I had to keep stopping and starting and everything to try to get this to flow. So I'm sorry if this is all crazy, but I hope you were still able to enjoy this video and that you were able to sort of get some advice about talking about your long distance relationship from this video, because I know that it can be quite scary, especially for a shy person. I am a very shy person, and I have definitely struggled with being open about my long distance relationship with people in the past. If you guys have any other video requests for me, please leave them down below, because I like to make videos that you guys want to see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you all enjoyed, and I will see you next week for another one. Bye guys.